I on? Let's see. I'm gonna tag everybody. You guys, if you're here for the replay, sorry about this thing I have to do at the beginning to make you guys wait. I'll be right there. I'm tagging everyone. All right. Hannah, you're the first one here. I want to make sure. I'm just going to wait for a second for people to come. I promised someone that I would make sure and let them know. George. Okay. I promised someone I would tag them to make sure that they knew I was on here. Hi, Jerry, you made it. You found me. I want to be able to see my comments down here. So, how was everyone's Thanksgiving? Georgie's in the background, sniffling and schnuffling. I'm gonna just make sure I have my comments over here so I can see what's going on. Tell me how your Thanksgivings were. Mine wasn't too much. We had to stay home because we kind of had this little bout of being exposed to someone who had COVID. So we're a little bit on quarantine. So it was just my daughter and I for Thanksgiving. But how about you? How was your day? So let's see. I haven't seen you guys for a couple of days. Have you been? There's a couple of people who have reported in about their homework, and some of it is just amazing to see, like the breakthroughs and the really deep thinking. You know, it's only for you to say whether this is new to you or something that kind of came up with the homework, but I just think you guys are doing a great job. Great job. All right, so I have my little cheat sheet here to make sure I touch upon everything I want to. So, Hannah, I think you're still there. I don't know if you got to catch up on the first 2 days of the workshop. They're in the highlighted area when you come into the group. But one day isn't contingent on the next. So I do a little bit of a recap, and then we just go on to the next thing. Today's topic is going to be about physical senses. Too many pillows around me. Physical senses versus non-physical senses. Most of the people here are here because they've had different experiences with non-physical. So that's why I'm going to kind of jump into not what they are, but how to sense them and differentiate between the two, and then also have the experience, because it's all about practice, right? All right. So I'm going to say this at the beginning, and I'm going to say this at the end, so that you have the opportunity to kind of raise your hand and say, hey, I want to do this if you want to. This workshop here, the 5-day workshop, is just a little slice of this big workshop I'm doing starting in January. It's a 12-week class. It's still the same title, Mastering Your Intuitive Wisdom Through Self-Discovery. And it's a really deep dive into self-work and discovery, and tuning into your gifts and just getting them out there so that you can use them. And I've really been exploring within myself, like, who do I want to really deliver this content to? And one of the things, because it's a very common theme, is a lot of people who come to me are people who want or feel called to do this either for themselves or to help other people. So that's why you're here. That's why we're spending time together. And I know most people who are watching this get really excited as you're working through these different processes and the different assignments. So this workshop is perfect. So if you're interested in just having a conversation with me, what it's all about, I want to be able to talk to people about signing up and what it's about, what they're getting into, because you have to really want to do the work. This is about doing the work to discover about yourself. So if you're interested in making an appointment with me to talk about getting into the program, just reach out, put it in comments, send me a message. Okay? All right. Let's see. I would love to hear, how are you guys doing? Nobody's making any comments. I see you there, but everybody's so quiet. Sheena, hi. How are you? I'm glad you're here. I'm trying to see my comments, but nobody's commenting. So somebody say hello. I know you're there. Very quiet. All right. So let's recap a little. First day of homework about the dreams. How are your dreams going? Are you having dreams? Are you getting your question? Thank you, Jerry. Are you getting any of your questions answered? Are you, if you're not a dreamer, are you getting little like clues that maybe you're dreaming a little bit? I would love to hear about it. If you could put it in comments if you've had any gains or always frustrations, right? Like everybody will say, what happened? Are you doing it? But I want to hear about your frustrations too, about what's not working or what you wish was working. So go ahead and share that. It's funny for me, this is the second time in a row I've been doing this workshop. And when I start telling you guys to like how to work with your dreams and how to, you know, make a dream come into reality so that you can get some answers, I dream more. I had a dream this morning about a friend client of mine. It was a very pointed, short dream that had a lot of information in it. So I let her know this morning. I always do this when I dream about people, if it's a message for them. So I had a conversation with her this morning. And then there's another story I'm going to share with you about a dream I had yesterday morning. So I tend to dream a lot when I'm trying to get you guys to dream. So it's kind of interesting for me too. Jerry says, not yet. I'm remembering them a little more, but I still have a way to go. Yeah. I think it's like any habit or new thing that you start to do, you have to kind of wade through, is this possible? And, you know, what you believe, and it's like just lifting, you know, like you gain your weight as you're lifting and you gain your dream power as you practice. So the best thing is just keep coming back, keep coming back. Okay. There's been 2 homework winners so far. I'm doing a drawing every night, so it's 4 nights because there's no homework for the last night because I won't see you the next day. It's a $10 gift card. The second winner was Jerry. He's here, and his homework was epic. You did such a good job. I was reading it just blown away, like, wow, he was talking about his belief systems and what the old ones were and how they've affected him, and then what the new ones he wanted to have. And it was great, Jerry. Great work, great work. So whoever does win the gift cards, I'm asking for addresses. You can send it to me in my message in the Facebook Messenger. I am also going to look into if I can just email you it. So that might be a possibility, but I haven't worked that out yet. So it might just be coming in regular mail. Oh, and at the end, I'm going to do a drawing with everybody who participated and came to the lives. And you don't have to be at the lives, but at least comment in the replay, and you get a free 60-minute online reading with me. So one person will win that at the end with a raffle. But you do have to show up. And that's what I'm talking about, like this big workshop I'm doing. I want people to show up. I want you to love and want to do this so much that, you're excited with me. So I want you to show up. And there's always rewards in that, not just a reading and a gift card, but, within yourself. I want to just share, because we've been working a lot with dreams. We've been working a lot with guided imagery. And I wanted to share my experience this morning. I did this funny little video with George this morning. So if you saw it, this is kind of a repeat, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it. Because the reason I want to share it is for you guys to really see we're given, whether it's in our dreams or within the guided imagery, such great information to learn about ourselves. But it's the choice of just delving in, really. So there's a step past, we write our dreams if we have them, and then if you really want to go back into it and get more information, you can. So what I wanted to talk about is the night before last, I had a dream. And I think I dreamt, I'm doing all this stuff with my work, and I just wanted to, it doesn't need to be clear sailing, but I want to know I'm going in the right direction. So I think that's what I asked for. And I want to make a big impact. I want to talk to lots and lots of people and help a lot of people be able to find their power within with their gifts. So I was in the dream on this bridge, super scary bridge. It was straight, but it was way high. It was a single lane. And I realized I was dreaming of my family member, a family member who has a lot of problem with anxiety and fear. She's afraid of everything. And she was driving my car. So when you're having a dream about a car or a vehicle, or you're riding in something, hey, Pat, it's really, really good to figure out who's driving and what is the symbology around that. Because if you're driving, then you're in charge, maybe. But if you're in the passenger seat, somebody or something else is driving your car. You're driving you down the road of your life. Or even you might be in the back seat. So that's one of the telltale easy interpretations in dreams to begin with, is who's driving your car. So fear was driving my car basically. And she's like, I can't drive, I can't do it. And she let go of the wheel. So I was driving, but then, and I saw all of this. It was like end of the world kind of things in front of my eyes. And then all of a sudden it was black. And I was still driving. Good question. Why didn't I stop driving if my life was in danger? But I didn't stop driving. I kept going. And even though I was in the dark, and I started yelling at the person driving, who was fear, open your eyes, open your eyes, open your eyes. But then I realized my eyes were shut. So I kept trying to open my eyes. It was like they were 1,000 pounds. Finally, when I opened my eyes, then it was just the bridge, and I could drive on the bridge, and I woke up. So there's a lot of information within that, right? Like, who's driving? Fear was driving. I'm yelling, like, open your eyes. to something that I feel like is driving my car, but really my eyes were just shut. And I didn't stop. I just kept barreling through the fear, which is a very good representation of how I have been feeling. So fast forward till this morning, I woke up and I could feel it, like a lot of pressure in the back of my neck. And there's this thing called TRE, which is traumatic release exercises. And it's like a somatic type thing that it's tremors that move through your body to release. It's a natural response from your body to release past trauma. So that's what was happening. Like I felt a lot of stress in the back of my neck. And as I relaxed, my body wanted to tremor. So I said, okay, I'm gonna, like, what is going on here? And when I really, when you're having anxiety, you have a choice of either ignoring it or going right into it. And that's what I did. I went right into it. And I ended back up on the bridge. And I made a point of opening my eyes. I'm like, I'm on this scary bridge. I'm going to open my eyes. So this is where the guided imagery part comes in, right? I'm using my imagination. I'm using my intuition. And I'm guiding myself through the meditation. So this is where all the good stuff is. So I went in. I knew I had to open my eyes. So took a deep breath, opened my eyes, and in front of me was this giant monster, like giant. It was a person, but he was huge and he was tortured. He was bloody. He had this huge nail in his thigh. So, and this is another thing that I'll talk about later, but I use this complete white room to take things into that I want to see what's really going on. So I took him in the white room, and long story short, I just kept saying, be the light, be the light, be the light. And at that point, he just started to heal. And I could see him like just as this giant person. And I asked, who are you? And he said, Goliath. So, those of you, I'm sure most of you know the story of David and Goliath and who Goliath was on some broad sense. So I came back to the bridge and I took a moment to just sit on the bridge and with my eyes open and see my path clear. And so I came out of the meditation and I looked up the story. Because although I do know the story, I just wanted to see, like, what is the meaning around this story for me right now? And it was very interesting because really the moral of the story, and you guys can add to this, if you know anything that's very insightful around Goliath, I would love to hear it. But Goliath, for me, I think was a representation of my obstacle, this big, giant, scary thing that's in the way of where I want to go. And it's built of fear, and it's built of anxiety, and it's built of doubt, and all the things that do not involve my big picture of where I want to go, right? It's the small thinking in this giant thing that looks big, and it is all fear. So what I've come to kind of understand is when I'm feeling this big giant thing in front of me, I need to look at the big picture. Where am I going? I don't need to worry about what's in between me and where I'm going, which is, it could be fear, could be that. That is my Goliath, right? So if I look at the big picture, then I can get to where I'm going. So let me just make sure. And what I did right is if we focus on the Goliath, it gets bigger, it gets more sensitive, right? My Goliath was like, the crap had been beaten out of him for decades. So he was very sensitive. And he was fighting back, within me. It was creating things within me. So I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out. I think that that's it for that story. So I want you to just see all the different elements that you can use to get the information that you need to be able to take your next steps. And what I want to ask you is, do you have a Goliath? What is your Goliath? And I think I'm going to add that to the homework. That wasn't something that I had on the homework, but I'd like to ask you, who or what is your Goliath? I'm writing it down so I remember. Okay, what do you guys have to say about that? Pat, I'm so glad about Bear. He must be just recovering, right? You guys are so quiet. Is anybody out there? Do you see the all the elements that you can use from the things that we've learned so far to be able to process and find? It's like finding what's in your way and then being able to almost melt it, right? During that whole exercise, that Goliath just melted for me once I recognized it and could see what was in my way. Okay, so if you have a Goliath, I would like to hear it. I really like smoked deli turkey. That's good. All right. So the next thing that we're going to go into is physical senses versus non-physical. Jerry, we're listening. Sometimes it's hard to identify with our Goliath. Well, until this morning, I didn't even have that concept. So I understand what you're saying, hard to identify with it because you haven't really thought about it yet, right? It's like a brand new concept or a brand new idea. But I think it's worth exploring because most of us have something big that gets in the way. Right, Sheena, right. Like I know still, some of your story and how that's probably mine too. That's part of it, because this is about my business and I want it to be something so special and big. And I am scared to death of that, of failing. It's the little failures or the big failures or the complete failure. But it's not real, right? Like it's not real. It's I don't know. It's like this made up thing that we've put together. Like what it makes me think of kind of is like a golem. It's something that's put together with string and hair and emotions and little notes. So that's what, Jerry, that's what I think of as my Goliath. Like and what maybe you can think about, like, because this being, this thing that's created from our anxiety and fear and our history of where we've been, that's what this is made of. So it's not like us. It's an entity that's become something real because we built it, right? We built it. So it's put together with pieces of us. And fear is such a strong emotion. Fear keeps us from the biggest things. And that's what this work is all about, because it's about walking through the fear. And that's how I felt this morning. I woke up and I was in the state of fear. And it's not like, like today I have to go do something that's super big. Hey, Melanie. It's not like today I had to go do something super big. It was more like today I'm going to participate and actively resist my fear around creating a bigger me or stepping into who I really am. And I think that's the scariest freaking place to be, right? Challenging, because it's so comfortable. Even though we may not be where we want to be, isn't it way more comfortable to just stay like where we are because we know it than to step out into something like going across that bridge? Okay. So keep on commenting about that if you want to. I'm gonna keep talking. I just want to make sure. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing all your comments. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about physical senses versus non-physical senses, because as we're powering up our ability to use our gifts on demand, we have to figure out what is non-physical, that more subtle information compared to our physical stuff. And it really frees up a lot of our information getting if we don't rely on expecting it to come in the physical. Now, a few days ago, I don't know if anybody here heard me, but I was talking about wanting to have more physical experiences with spirit. And I'm just saying with spirit because that's kind of a catch-all. And I don't know if any of you saw those posts I made yesterday. Yesterday, my walk was every bit. I got my brother who lives on the other side to touch my hand. I saw a prism in the sky. I talked to trees and got great information. I saw a bird in the clouds. I saw a hawk. And this was all in like an hour's time. So these are like the blending of the two things which you can ask for. But I just want to focus on the non-physical things right now. So if we think about just for the sake of talking about it and getting you guys to get in here with me, what are your physical senses that you use all the time? And also with those physical senses, what do you feel are your strongest that you rely on the most? So, there's seeing, smelling, hearing, feeling, touching, on our skin. What did I leave out? Tasting. Those are all of our physical things. People do talk about our sixth sense, which is what I'm going to put as a whole category, because our sixth sense or our intuitive sense isn't just, I've never thought about it before I'm saying this, but people categorize that as the sixth sense, right? But there's so much more than just that one little category, because it encompasses all of your senses, but in a different way. Okay. So let's list our non-physical senses. Non-physical senses. How do you see? Seeing is most used by me. It's a really, is there a connection between our strongest senses and what we excel at when we're using our intuition? Pat, I just saw a big red tail hawk out here walking my dog, hearing him sing and listen to music all my life. Yeah, I saw one yesterday. It was so cool. So yeah, our strongest sense that we rely on the most, is that what we would excel at when we're using our intuition? It's a good question. So listing the non-physical abilities that we can have, or that we can access, we're going to access them in a guided imagery in a few minutes. Our internal eyes. So think about that a little bit. When you're working intuitively, and Melanie, can you let me know if you're here or not? Because I thought I saw you put up a little thing. Because I like to use your story sometime. Someone I used to work with, she had a little bit of trouble visualizing things, which sometimes people do, to be able to visualize inside using their internal vision. So she started with relying on her hearing, her internal hearing within the guided imagery, to be able to let her know how it was going. She was kind of getting rid of a lot of junk that was within her energy. So instead of watching with her internal eyes, like what it was, what it looked like when it was leaving, she used a shovel and could hear it rubbing against the bottom of whatever she was shoveling, so she could tell what her progress was. I believe she's come a long way since then. This was many years ago, but there's always a way to get around what will work for you in the meantime as you're trying to get to your destination of being able to use your gifts. So going back to the internal vision, it's very important when you're trying to get information or trying to see something that you're not accessing that that object or that person or whatever you're trying to look at through your eyeballs. Especially a lot of times when we try to access something, our eyes are closed, but sometimes people will try to look with their eyeballs. So, when you close your eyes, sometimes you see, images pop up in front of your eyes. That can be useful, but that is not the vision that you want to access to find your information. It's more on the inside of your mind. It's almost like behind your eyeballs. Does anybody have anything to say about that or any experiences with that? And then the same with the hearing. We hear, you go like this, you hear the noise outside coming in. But when you're hearing messages, it's on the inside of your mind, right? So remember, when you're trying to listen, that you're not relying on as if it's coming from out here. And I might have talked about this the other day, how many people have had the experience of, and this happened to me the other day, of hearing a loud message or a someone calling your name that's not really there. Happens to me all the time with my daughter. I don't know why. The other morning I was woken up. Mom! She was like, it was in her voice. She was yelling, Mom! Wasn't her. She was sound asleep. But I heard it as if it was outside of my ears. So has anybody ever had that experience of hearing someone call their name with their external ears, not on the inside, like a message? Okay, so we've talked about seeing with your internal eyes or hearing with that internal voice. Yep, that's the way I get it. Yes. Yeah, it's for me because I don't hear, when I hear information, it's internal. But it happens on the outside too, but generally that's not where my very useful information comes from. But when it's all the time, usually when I'm in bed or just waking up or just going to sleep. Yeah, Pat, that's right. I'll probably, maybe I'll think a little bit more about that. Like, what is that? What comes to mind is more like a memory, like a imprinted, like a energetic imprint memory that gets triggered by something. That's what it kind of feels like, what I hear in my head. Okay, so, and then there's the spontaneous knowing. So who can feel that within you? Because that is not like any of your senses that you can say, this is coming, I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it. It's a knowing. And it's a different sensation that is so great to have and continue to have, so you can recognize it because it's very subtle. Just that knowing. It happens to me a lot when I'm doing readings and someone will say, that's not true. That's not me. That might be somebody else. That's never happened to me. And there is something within me that is so sure that I will literally argue with them. Like, I know this is true. Let's like dig. And I'm usually right, but it's this like very internal, spontaneous knowing. Have you ever had that experience? That is something that's like where it feels to me like the deepest part. Yeah, it's the deepest. It's like accessing the well of your knowledge from the purest point. That's what I feel like. Sheena says, I always feel it, just knowing. Yeah. So it's not a conversation. It's not something that you're like hearing word by word. It's just bam, you just know. And it can be, I'm trying to like put into words what that feels like. If anybody, Sheena, maybe you can like share, what does that feel like for you within your body? For me, it's almost like a heaviness in my solar plexus. And sometimes it comes with goosebumps, like confirmation goosebumps. And it's a shift. It's like a little bit of an energy shift that is palpable. And that's the next thing I wanted to bring up, is subtle energy feelings or shifts. So for instance, yesterday I was laying on my back in the sun. I wanted to feel my brother. He died many years ago. And I put my hand out and I said, I want you to touch my hand. And I could feel like energy on top of my hand, but I wasn't sure. I'm like, this could be him. This could just be me focusing on my hand. And finally I said, all right, I kind of feel you, but I want to actually physically feel you. And then that's when like it was almost like somebody kind of, it was like a pull on my finger and a twitch in the joints of my finger. But the first thing, that subtle feeling on my palm, that's where, hi Peggy, that's where you have to teach yourself how to recognize it, to be able to catch it. So subtly, if you're working with someone and you're doing hands-on healing, you can feel the energy on your hands. You can, a lot of times it'll almost feel like popcorn under my hands, and there's actually nothing, that physically they're just laying there, but it's the energy that's coming up. Also, if we talk about being empathic and how it affects our lives, right? If we're reading someone or we're working with someone, to be able to feel the subtle shifts in our emotions and be able to discern, is it mine or is it theirs? And then to be able to let it go. And those are all the subtleties, that subtle. Also, I'd love to know if this has ever happened to you, if you're with someone, whether it's on purpose and you're working with them, or if you're just with someone and all of a sudden you have a feeling within your body. And I don't mean an emotion, I mean an actual feeling. Maybe your head will hurt on a certain point, or a piece of your body has pain, or your belly hurts all of a sudden. Has that ever happened to anyone? With the realization that it wasn't yours, you were just interpreting the energy from someone else. Has anybody ever had that happen? And that's think about what a huge implication if you're very, very sensitive, and then you're around someone who maybe has an ulcer, and you can feel what's going on with them. if you're not careful and if you're not able to understand that it's not even yours, you may interpret it as your own pain. And then that causes a whole like snowball kind of effect, because when we start to believe that something is wrong, then sometimes we can kind of create something from that. So it's really good if you're very, very sensitive to know what's yours and what's not. And when I'm working with someone, if say their left shoulder hurts, and if I'm within their energy, all of a sudden I'll feel a pain in my left shoulder, it's not bad to ask, hey, does your shoulder hurt? Because then, and they'll say yes, and then I'll be like, okay. And it goes away. As soon as they like confirm, yes, they have a pain in their left shoulder, then it'll go away. Or you can explore deeper. If you already are feeling the sensation, then you can kind of get a feeling of, is it sharp? Is it a pressure? Does it feel like inflammation? So that's like the next level of being able to use your empathic physical reaction to be able to help read and assist with the other person and get knowledge to help them. How are you guys doing? Can you relate to anything of what I'm saying? Have you had any of these experiences? What do you think? All right. And then we have emotions. Our emotions are definitely a way to use our intuition, because if you feel someone else's emotion, then you are, one, reading the situation. Two, if you're helping someone, maybe they'll be saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. And maybe they've covered up a lot of how they're feeling, but you can feel their underlying issue. And in the other stance, it is a way to interpret our own feelings, to be able to go within our body. Your stomach hurts. You put your mind into your stomach and ask, what emotion lives within here? And then when you have an emotion within your body somewhere, that's like great information to be able to start work with, why is it there? What started all of this? What's the root of it? But again, that's subtle. It's all subtle. And it's allowing your mind to expand enough to be able to gather up this information to help yourself or help others. Pat says, yes, I have been with people talking and suddenly felt pain out of nowhere. So Pat, what did you do? Like, what are you inclined to do if you feel someone else's pain? Like, what's the next step? Do you just ignore it? Do you talk to them about it? Do you know it's not yours? I'd love to hear about, what happens next. George is snoring his head off. I'm sorry. All right, what else do we have? I think that's it for my list. If anybody else can think of anything else to do with subtle energy, feeling, interpreting, experiencing the subtle energy that's non-physical. No, I bring it up and have offered Reiki healing for it. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. That's really good. And that's the practice of being empathic, being very sensitive, and learning. I don't know, it's almost like saying to yourself, I will decide to explore this, ignore this, or not even really realizing it's not yours, and then you take it on. Of course, for me, most of the time, exploring it is the best part, because either you're really helping yourself and understanding, okay, what's living within me that needs to be healed, or you're helping the other person if they're open to that. It's all about the situation and how that works. Okay. So what I wanted to do with that is to do a little guided imagery to explore just a little bit of, Yeah, that's true. Some people aren't open. Some people are just like, leave me alone, you weirdo, right? I was talking to someone about that this morning because it's, I think, how powerful is it to really step into a place where you don't care what people think and you offer, you know, whatever you feel like you should be offering, whether it's help or support, and you don't feel that intimidation of how are they going to receive what I'm saying, or you know, are they going to be mad or tease me? It's a very empowering thing. This is something I've gone through for years, to just let go of it and just be like, okay, I'm here, this is my job, and you know, being delicate around talking about it, but being okay if someone's like, it's not my thing. That's part of our work and our self-confidence, I think, especially if you're working with the non-physical, right? Anyone else here besides Pat ever have that experience of people around you kind of just, you know, if there's something you want to do or talk about, and then feeling like you're kind of intimidated maybe to talk about it? And if you're watching the replay, I would love to, you know, make your comments and participate, and I'm definitely gonna come back and read your comments, and I'll converse with you about your comments. So what we're going to do now is do a guided imagery, and I'm going to try to help you explore the non-physical sensations, and we're going to be using our imagination, but of course with your imagination comes some intuitive information. So you want to take out your notebooks and pen, and I'd love to see your comments when we're all done. Jerry says, I felt energy from people that made me want to leave their presence. Yeah. So that's another whole thing about, you know, how people make us feel. And it's a thing to think about, because some people, we just know this person is not somebody I want to be around. It's not good for me. It's not a healthy, it's not going to lead me down a healthy path, right? But then there's other people that just trigger us, like their energy triggers us. And it's another whole exploration as you're like working with yourself, to not to force yourself to be around them, but to maybe question yourself, okay, why was I triggered by that? Like, what is it about them? Because when we're like repulsed by something or repelled by something, it's because there's something within them that's setting us off. So it's a opportunity for self-learning if you choose, and it's a safe situation. Okay, so I'm gonna go into a guided imagery with you guys, and most of you, or some of you, have probably experienced some of the guided imagery with the gold ball. We're going to use the gold ball, but I'm going to talk you through having different experiences of internal seeing and hearing. And at the end, I'm going to put this out here now so you can anticipate it. At the end of the guided imagery, I'm going to ask you, if you want to reach out intuitively to anyone who is here and see if you can get a sense about someone else's emotions. So it's just doing a little bit of like going beyond your own personal stuff and just reaching out to anybody to just feel an emotion that someone may be feeling. And we don't have to, when we're all done, what I want is you don't have to do, I'm not asking you to read anybody, nobody's, you know, that would entail information. But what I want you to do is just have the experience of feeling an emotion that's beyond you, purposefully. Does that make sense? All right. So we're just going to find a comfortable place. You can sit, you can lay down. Just find your center and bring some of your physical senses within yourself. So bring your hearing back in, take yourself away from George's snoring, and then kind of bring your vision in. Don't think about what you were looking at, but just think about what's within you. And we're just going to take 5 deep breaths. So if you can put your hands on your belly. And we're just going to start with the breath coming into your belly, so you can relax your belly as you breathe in. And then bring that breath all the way up to the top of your chest. And then exhale. And then again, bring that breath into your belly. Move it all the way up to your top of your chest. And exhale. Again, take another breath. Let your belly pop up with that breath. All the way up to the top of your chest. And exhale. And one more breath. Bring your breath in. And bring it all the way to the top of your chest. And exhale. Now bringing into your imagination and into your personal space, I want you to imagine a gold ball. Now I'm not going to tell you what this gold ball looks like. That's going to be up to you. But I do want you to see it as floating in the air in front of you. So as you see that gold ball, I want you to imagine it expanding and then shrinking down a little. You can use your breath. So as you expand it, take your breath in. And as it shrinks, let your breath out. Just keep doing that a little bit. It may glow a little bit more. It may start spinning. Just watch. And then as you're watching that gold ball, I want you to just notice, are you having any emotions? Are you having any expectations? Are you feeling anything coming off of the gold ball? Any temperature changes? And then I want you to bring the gold ball down to the bottom of your left foot. And what we're going to do is we're going to let that gold ball come right into your foot. So this is gold, pure, cleansing energy. And you're going to bring it up your foot. And you're moving it all the way up to your left hip. But go at any rate that's comfortable for you. You may find it comes up against something it doesn't want to pass. Just do your best to let that be, but just bring it around or bring it through with a little bit of patience. And as you're bringing it up your leg, into your joints, up to your hip, notice the sensations. Notice how it feels. Notice your thoughts. And then once you're done, I want you to bring it across your pelvis. And then I want you to bring it from your right hip all the way down to your right foot. Take your time. And there's no right or wrong, but I want you to notice whatever sensations, thoughts, emotions. And when you get down to the bottom of your right foot, I want you to bring that ball back up, and we're going to place it in your lower back. And then let that ball of nice gold energy sit within your pelvis for a few seconds. And I want you to breathe in and breathe out. And again, let it expand and contract. Now this gold energy is very, very healing. It increases your vibration. And it can usually leave you with a little bit of sensation of expansion or tingling. And then I want you to bring that gold ball up right into the middle of your belly. And you can kind of play here within your belly and your solar plexus. It can be a nice big gold ball that's just sitting there and radiating that healing energy, or you can make it smaller and kind of move it around into different positions that you would like. Maybe you have a sore hip and you want to put it on your hip, or maybe your belly's bothering you and you want to bring it into your belly. Or maybe you have acid reflux and you want to bring it right into your solar plexus. Continue to use your breath. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring that gold ball up to the middle of your chest. And we're going to do the same as we did with our legs. So I want you to bring the gold ball over to your left shoulder and down your left arm. And don't forget to just leave it around your hands, your wrist, your fingers. And then once it comes down to your left hand, I want you to put it over to your right hand, and we're going to go all the way up your right arm. And then once it comes to the middle of your chest again, what we're going to do is move that gold ball to the base of your skull. And we're going to go all the way down your vertebrae. So you might want a smaller gold ball for this. And you don't have to be very particular about how many vertebrae you have, but I want you to imagine one vertebrae at a time, you're going to move the gold ball all the way down to your tailbone. And then come all the way back up to the base of your skull. Take your time. And if you are having any, sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes this may make someone uncomfortable. If you're having any trouble, please write it in the comments and I can support you. So you're going all the way to your tailbone and then all the way back up to the base of your skull. And then when you're done with that, I want you to just bring that gold ball right into your face and into the back of your skull, all around the inside of your head, very gently. You might want to explore how it feels around your jaw or your eyes, around your ears. Some of us have ringing ears quite a lot. There's a way to turn that ringing down, but sometimes this gold ball can soothe it if you ask for soothing. And then when you're done with that, I want you to bring the gold ball right over your head. And we're going to do a little bit of a figure 8. And then I want you to take the ball, okay, and we're going to move the ball to the back, down the back of your head. And then bring the ball through your solar plexus to the front. And then bring the ball down the front of your pelvis and around between your legs and back up the back to your solar plexus. Through your solar plexus, out the front, up past your face. So this is a figure 8. We're going to do one more time. Take that gold ball down the back of your neck, down your back, through your solar plexus, out the front of your solar plexus, down the front of your pelvis between your legs, and then up the back through your solar plexus. And the ball's going to come out to the front of your solar plexus, and I want you to put it into your left hand. Now hold this gold ball in your left hand and just feel it. Feel the sensation of the energy in your left hand. While you're holding this ball in your left hand, I want you to imagine, do not use you're holding it in your imaginary hand right now. So what I want you to do is imagine your right hand, and I want you to take your finger and tap the gold ball. See if you can get an internal hearing of tapping this gold ball with your imaginary finger. Listen for the tap, tap, tap. And you can also watch, what does the ball do? How does it respond? And then I want you to put the ball into your right hand. Take a couple breaths, let the ball expand and contract. Feel it, what it feels like in your right hand. And maybe with your left hand, instead of using your finger, you might want to imagine a little bit of maybe a drumstick and tap, tap, tap on the ball again. Then let go of that imagery, and I want you to hold the gold ball with both hands. And again, use your breath. Expand and contract, expand and contract. What do you feel around this? And then creating sensations. This is another exercise for imagination. Imagine that this gold ball is cold. Imagine that sensation of cold. And then letting that go, imagine the sensation of it being warm. And then, in your imagination, with your imaginary hands, I want you to pick up this ball and put it in front of your face. And with your internal eyes, I want you to just look at the gold ball. Ask it what it wants to show you. And then letting that go when you're ready. I want you to listen and ask what it has to tell you. And just let your expectations go. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just listen. And then what I want you to do is just let this gold ball go. So I always say you can just let it go. You can have someone take it for you. You can put it in your pocket. I have a gold ball with me all the time in my imaginary pocket. And then I want you to just let go of all that imagery. And just take a deep breath and let it go. And then, if you choose to, say to yourself, is there someone here in this group that would like their emotions to be felt? What can I feel from someone here in this group? And don't try, just let it flow. It'll flow or it won't flow. But it's good practice. And this is using your intuition on demand. ready, you can start to bring yourself back to yourself. Move your hands and feet. Maybe tap your feet on the ground a couple times. Get yourself in your body. Put your roots down. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And you can, if there's important things that you experienced or information that you received, you can start writing it down. And you can also put whatever you'd like into the comments to share about your experience. That would be great. Keep stretching my neck because I did some, I think it was my shoulder stand and my plow last night in yoga. Pat says, I feel someone is or has been upset. So if there's anyone here that can relate to what Pat is saying, go ahead and put it in comments. And Pat, I want to ask you, so you're feeling someone else's stuff. Is it very plain to you that it is someone else's stuff? Check in to make sure it's not something that you're getting in touch with for yourself. Jerry says, I was told to relax and just enjoy life. Yes, that seems to be the theme this week. Can you do that, Jerry? Or is it, for me, I have a Goliath in the way to just relax. I can't tell who else is here, Jerry and Pat. Yeah, I hope you can, at least for today, right? Just take today and get through today, and then tomorrow's, another day to make your intention again. Ball told me to shine. Okay, Sheena. I feel it told me I was holding light and I need to let the light out. That's interesting, right? So what are you going to do about that? And I know that you have a way to let the light out. And it's so interesting because when we don't feel good, when we're sick, a lot of times you can use that. Sheena, this is probably a great exercise for the way you've been feeling, for one thing, the gold ball. And you can use that to clear your energy when you don't feel good. It's kind of like a level of detoxification. And another thing, which we didn't do with this imagery, but when you're using all that light, it does release a lot of old stagnant energy. So if any of you feel kind of like there's still stuff lingering, you can imagine a vacuum cleaner, and just like the vacuum cleaner nozzle. And maybe we'll do this. Let's do it together because I think it's really good. I want to do this for you, Sheena, because I think it might help if you cleared any yucky stuff from you. If you just close your eyes for a minute, imagine a vacuum cleaner hose, and you could just imagine it, or you could have someone actually holding it if you're asking for help. And just close your eyes. Imagine the vacuum cleaner hose, and then just turn on the vacuum and imagine just sucking up all the old energy that is around you, any old emotions, if you're not feeling well, just put it in the areas of your body that you tend to hold stuff or you don't feel good. And go ahead and take a few minutes to do that. This is a great way. This can literally change your mood. It's great for infections because you're using the imagery to remove something that isn't serving you anymore. And if you're doing this during the replay, I would love to hear how the whole guided imagery worked for you, and also how this vacuuming, I came up with this imagery, which it's not original, I don't think, but it was like 20 years ago. I was in such a bad mood, and I was sitting in the back seat, and of this car, and I was so angry. And when you have the weight of the world on you, you think, and I just, for some reason, spontaneously decided to vacuum away the feeling I felt, and it completely changed my mood instantaneously. So it's a really great tool. So I'd love to hear, if you felt anything with that. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you guys to, write any comments. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to kind of wrap up, but Christine, you made it at the end. I'm going to do another one tonight at 8 o'clock, so you can watch the replay or come tonight. Okay, so to wrap up, let's see. I wanted to again bring up, I'm going to put a link in the top of this post for arranging an appointment with me if you want to talk about joining the 12-week workshop that starts January 3rd. I'm looking for people who are so excited about learning about themselves and bringing their gifts to the top and having control over them. Especially people who are drawn to be healers or are already working as healers or coaches or anything within that realm, or if you just want to really learn about yourself. I'm going to leave a link so that you can make an appointment. We're going to meet and talk about joining the program. Let's see. Pat felt the vacuum take out some pain. Awesome. It works great for pain. Jerry, when I do the gold ball imagery before I meditate, I get clearer messages from Jesus and my guides. Yeah, because it raises your vibration. It's really, really good. I wanted to I'm going to dwell on the workshop just for a minute because I want you guys to get excited about it. It's a 12-week workshop, and each week we're going to do 2 hours twice, so it'll be 4 hours of classroom meeting. Again, it'll be like a replay here, so if you can't make the time that it is every week, you can watch the replay. You get 4 one-on-one intuitive readings with me within the 12 weeks. So that's a really great, right now, that's just a $400 worth of things just by itself, with one-on-one coaching with me to help you with your intuitive gifts. And that would be on video. We'll have a special Facebook book group for just this group of people to support and have community with each other. I'm doing this amazing comprehensive workbook to assist with your self-discovery. So it'll be a workbook, just like our homework here, but it'll be more official with the actual workbook that you're going to be working in. And this is really cool. Emails or text 5 days a week with exercises to do. So continuously through the 12-week program, 5 days a week, you will have guided imageries and different tasks to work on your intuition. And, you know, there's a lot of accountability. So, but it's the desire to do it, right? And then we're also going to have a buddy system. So you'll be buddied up with someone to be able to work closer with to practice. Of course, you'll have support from me throughout your whole journey. I think that's the whole list. So if you're interested in this program and you're getting excited while I'm talking to you about it, let's make an appointment and I'll sit down and share more of the details with you. Let's see. Sheena says, yes, I felt a clearing before I came up. Just vacuumed lots of crumbs, and it provided a visual for me during the activity. All the little pieces left in the corners need to be found and cleared for me to share my light. Awesome. Jerry, I can't make tomorrow at 1. Can I do the replay when I get? Yes. So tomorrow I'll be here at 1. There'll be a replay for the 1 o'clock one, and I'm also going to be back for a repeat live, so it'll be essentially the same thing but a little bit different, for 8 o'clock tonight too. So there'll be a replay for both times. So we still have, what's today? We still have Saturday and we still have Sunday, and there'll be 2 lives for each day. So Jerry, you can watch the replay for 1 o'clock, or you can make it at 8 o'clock, or do both. It's completely up to you. So is there anybody who is interested in making an appointment with me to talk about this workshop? Just go ahead and put it in the messages or the comments right now, and I'll get with you when we're all done. And let's see, I'll announce tonight's homework winner tomorrow. And let me just make sure there's nothing else. Okay, so the homework for tonight is to continue with your dreams, continue journaling, continue commenting on that homework post. And then the other thing is to practice what we're talking about. You don't have to use a gold ball. You can use something else, whatever. It's good to like create your own guided imagery, but I want you to practice thinking about what's physical and what's non-physical as far as your experiences. So you can journal about it, you can think about it, you can create a guided imagery for yourself to practice that. And then the other part of homework, which I'm going to add it is like an extra, is think about what is your Goliath? What is your big fear that has been created throughout your life? All the bits and pieces of hair and nails and notes and all of that, to what is your Goliath? And then you can journal a little bit about that. What is it? What does it mean for you? How does it get in your way? And can you see past it? So how does all that feel to you guys? And I think that's a wrap for day 3. The other announcement I wanted to make, I posted it yesterday. You guys only within this group, there's a 50% off for all of my readings within this group between now and Monday at noon. So you have to arrange the appointment, but you do not have to actually have the appointment before Monday. But you have to arrange the appointment before the workshop is done, and it's 50% off. So that would mean for a reading for an hour, it's only $50, and for a 30-minute reading, it's only $32. There's a post, and I'll put it under with the lives at the top for the special tagged posts. There's links to arrange either one of those appointments, or you can just reach out to me. But that's a really good special I wanted to just offer up to you guys, because you guys have been working so hard, and it's so great working with you. Okay, so I think I'm going to sign off. Pat, great. Love the things we're doing. I love the things we're doing together too. All right, you guys, I hope you have a really awesome day. Please reach out to me if you have any other questions, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1, or maybe tonight at 8. Bye.